David here once again for another video review, and today we're in a 2016 Focus ST. And yes, you're gonna be like, another Focus ST? Why are you doing another Focus ST? Well, this one has a bigger turbo on it. This one has a Garrett GTX 2867R, so it's still a tiny turbo, but it changes the entire character of how the power is. And so what's interesting about that is the stock turbo on the Focus ST, it hits really hard, it's really torquey, but then it just completely tapers off. You're out of power, the torque, everything's leveled off. And it's still fun, and especially around corners going slower speeds, but if you want to get more of that top end power, it might be smart to get a bigger turbo. It is a little bit pricey to get the bigger turbo though for these cars. It's like $2,000, but if you're really passionate about the car, I totally get it. There's a lot of people in the Fiesta and Focus ST community finally experimenting with these engines. When they first came out, it was kind of scary to mess with them because nobody really knew what they were doing. A lot of people blew them up, but nowadays it's a lot more tame, especially with the access port, the cob systems. Everybody's kind of caught up with the technology. I've never done the second generation ST either. This is the ST2, quote unquote, and basically has the different front end and a little bit different in the back, but it's more so the front end. The headlights are a little bit sharper and the front grille is a little bit less sad looking. I always compare to the Mazda Speed 3 because the Mazda Speed 3 was this grinning child, always happy to go everywhere, and then the Focus ST was like the depressed kid. It was just so sad the entire time. With this, it feels like a completely different car. The gauges are still a little cheap looking, but the rest of the interior still feels great. It basically feels like a Focus RS on the inside for the most part. The color in this car looks great. The stock wheels even look pretty cool. They're very different with kind of the ridges. The brake system, the brake pedal feel on the Focus ST is very sensitive. So like if you just tap the brake, you instantly jolt forward, which takes a little bit of time to get used to, but it's beneficial when you start cooking it around corners. And it doesn't really have pad fade or anything like that. The big thing with the ST is that, yes, it's not the Focus RS, and it's front wheel drive compared to all wheel drive. Yes, the Focus RS is all wheel drive and it's a ton of money, but the Focus ST is still a great car, and I think it's being overlooked by the RS. And a lot of people graduate from the ST to the RS, so it's always a cool recommendation to give. Can't really go wrong with any of the hot hatches anymore. All of them are solid. It's more of a preference thing, but Focus ST, when this came out, Ford was doing the right thing by introducing a new kind of demographic to their performance car community. You see a lot of people get this as their first car and their first manual car, and this is also the owner's first manual car too, so he jumped right into it. One thing that is nice about it too is the digital display in the middle, which if you're just cruising around, it'll recommend a gear. It'll have an up arrow and say, hey, if you want to save more gas, wow. If you want to save more gas, then you should shift up. But at the same time, the gearing in this car is very long. So when you had that stock turbo and it peaked, you really noticed it. But with the bigger turbo, it just keeps on going. It keeps building power all the way. Oh my God, you can really hear it with the window open. Oh my God. It's speaking to me. I can do that all day long. Another thing too that I think helps the aggressive look of this Focus ST is the Mishimoto intercooler in the front. Thing looks so freaking aggressive, and I've never seen an ST with a big intercooler up the front. So other than that honeycomb grille we always see, it's nice seeing that nice big gap with something showing that it means business. It's a little bit more aggressive than the stock Focus ST. Second gear, out. Woo! Wow, that's sweet. Somebody tell me what that sounds like. It's like the mixture between a VR6 and an SRT4. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. That is wild. With this turbo, you're making probably around 360 wheel horsepower in the Focus ST, which, it being a very light car, is awesome. The 6-speed transmission has a very notchy and satisfying feel. You always know you're in gear, and when you are going a little bit faster throughout the gears, it's a piece of cake. The clutch on this too, piece of cake. It doesn't feel too light and it doesn't feel too heavy. It's like perfect for teaching somebody how to drive a stick shift car. Yeah, this car's really fun. I recommend it. When it comes to the exhaust, this has a downpipe and it has a muffler delete, which I thought was gonna be incredibly droney, but it's really not. I was very surprised. I was mentally preparing for when I heard muffler delete, I just think about drone, like right in my ear, tickling me the whole time. But you're cruising around, it doesn't bug you at all. You could drive this every single day and it wouldn't be a problem. So the tile blow-off valve in this too is very conversational. It makes a lot of noise, so I'll just kind of get into it. It's so fun. Kyle claims this thing hooks in first gear, and I don't believe him, so we obviously have to try it. All right, so we'll slow down. We'll get the car rolling. We're not gonna do dead stop because that hurts. All right, so we're gonna roll into it, and first gear. Yep, it did it. It's an interesting sound. It's like, it's so hard to describe. Like, it's such a different sounding 4-cylinder compared to almost anything I've ever heard. You have so much more air going through the motor. You have this loud buffling, like, whoosh sound compared to the stock Focus ST, which you don't even hear the turbo pretty much ever. It feels almost all motor because you only have that 1 second of lag. With this, you get this very, very odd build-up sound. So, oops, sorry about that. And we'll just build some boost, and there we go. Super easy to drive, but it definitely is quick. I know I don't look like I'm getting that excited, but honestly, it's just because it's so composed. Oh, no understeer. That's amazing. All right, brakes are good. All right, off we go. Third gear, man. Third gear is awesome in this car. I almost feel like this car should have came like this stock due to the different power band. It's a little more exciting of a power band. I understand the really hard torquey punch, but just the amount of power gain you get from this is really impressive. Yeah, okay, so I hit rev limiter, my bad, but it freaking just hooked. I wasn't expecting it. I was getting ready for the wheel spin that you'd find in the other hot hatches, but you just don't. I also attribute that to how linear the power band is. You don't have that instant torque, so you're not just roasting the entire time. The Mazda Speed 3 had a huge issue with that back when that was coming out against the Focus ST. Let off the gas, I go back and forth. It's quiet, it's civilized. I mean, you have nice soft materials. There's some plastics here and there too on the door, but it's just part of the price range. The steering wheel though, the new steering wheel is probably my favorite thing about the new Focus ST, is because it's flat bottomed and the materials feel a little bit nicer. Steering is very, very direct and with very limited body roll, and I'm on stock suspension right now, so that's very surprising that I'm not on coilovers. It feels like I'm on coilovers. But you can absolutely fit an adult in the back. That's always a helpful fact. The front seats are very comfortable. The cloth ones I haven't been in yet. I've always been in the leather ones, and they're very, very comfortable. I typically like cloth seats because they're really easy to take care of. These don't feel overly snug. The RS's Recaros don't fit everybody, and these definitely fit a lot more people, I would think. The bolstering in it isn't as aggressive. I think when I got the information about this car, I expected this very hard-hitting, crazy, wild, almost uncontrollable car, but instead I got this like beautiful long linear power band, and it's a pleasant surprise, honestly. It's kind of nice when a car isn't a handful. Absolutely fun to have a wild car that breaks traction, but this thing with the Michelin up front, it's not gonna happen. The Michelins are too good at their job, and basically throughout the entire thing you can just concentrate on driving. You don't have to worry about shooting off the road. And number one, This car has no torque steer, 0. I didn't feel a bit of torque steer, and when I went over a bump around a turn, it never got weird on me. It instantaneously was keeping straight the entire time, which is rare for a powerful front-wheel drive car. All right, so in conclusion, let's think about this. Sounds like a mixture between a VR6 and an SRT4, combined with kind of that Fomoco sound from the past, and then has a bigger turbo on it, so it changes the character of the car, makes it a little bit more controllable, which is a benefit. Other than that, it's basically a Focus ST improved, and I think that is important. Instead of making some wild car that might break all the time, he took a car that was already really good and did just notch it up by that much. And I think that's wonderful. So on that note, guys, thank you all for watching this quick little review video. I know I had a freaking awesome time, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Thank you to Kyle for driving from Columbus, Georgia, for letting me drive his car, and have a great day. Goodbye.